Welcome, everyone, to round 2 front 9 coverage of the Groundhog, or front 9, front 8, excuse me. Little bit of a clerical error there. My bad. Of the Groundhog Grappler. And I am delighted to say that we have some new faces, some old faces, but every face so far we have seen on coverage at one time or another. We're starting off on Hole A. Once again, this is right next to Tournament Central, so it just made sense to start here, I'm told. And it's just this really nice tunnel shot, you know? I mean, you choose the left side, choose the right side. I apologize for the noise. It was stormy for the second round. Josh up first. Kind of getting some unlucky root reaction there on the ground, so a little too low, I think, out of the hand. Mason McKay up next. Little turned over for Mason and an early tree there, so he'll have an easy up and down for the par, but unfortunately probably not going to get the birdie. Cody Munns. A little too stable here. That should fight its way through to circle 2, though, so he'll have a look at the basket from up on top of that hill. OB water to the left, OB road to the right. Most of those probably not going to come into play unless you're really bad. Oh, no. Chad showing us how those might come into play with an unfortunate yank. A little high out of the hand for Kyle here. That should fight its way through to circle 2, similar to Cody. Chad in a terrible spot. This is so brutal to be over here, because it's basically a re-tee, but you have even more trees in your way. Opting for this nice little skip play here. Puts himself right next to the basket. Mason once again keeping me on my toes. Not giving me time to set up. Hitting the basket for the birdie. So making me eat my words here. Josh just outside the circle. Yeah, excuse me. Starting out really strong with a birdie. Maintaining that lead. Here we've got Cody. Solid effort, just too far to the left. Here we've got Kyle, who actually filtered through pretty far. I thought he'd be short like Cody was. Making a great correction from the first round. Cashing in the birdie early. Cody cleaning up that par. Mason and Chad. Mason in for his 3. And Chad, I think, is just under the basket. Or no, he's just barely behind this tree. That happened a lot during this tournament. He was just barely behind a tree for me. On to hole 7, par 3, 393 feet. This one in a pretty difficult pin position. We're going to enunciate every word, or every letter, excuse me. So this is in the par 3 location, just on the other side of the fence, just short of the opening that we're probably going to be looking at right around here-ish. Yeah, so that pin location right there to the right that we just saw. Up first, we've got Josh Coghill. And I'm told that round 2 is supposed to be a slightly easier layout than round 1. This hole definitely not following that example. Josh taking it right up the middle. Beautiful shot there. That should be circle 2. And I failed to mention OB road to the right. OB fence, that fence line is now OB. So if you go over that fence, you have to take relief from it. Kyle kind of throwing this one too good. Too good for the par 4 position. Not good enough for the par 3. And he'll be in circle 2 as well, I believe. Mason lining up that over the road shot. And throwing it way wider than anybody had any right to throw, and getting very lucky to make it in bounds. I think that was a yank all day, but not getting punished for it, so all is well. Next we've got Cody. Oh, early tree kick. Brutal. That is essentially a re-tee. Chad putting himself in circle 2 as well, and hopefully that skipped further toward the pin, but we'll see. And Cody, he's too strong, and he threw this way wide like Mason did, and unfortunately that will be OB, so he's throwing for bogey right now. I like the line. If it was just a little straighter, or skipped a little straighter, that would have been ideal. Mason not looking to get a bogey on this hole, just laying up. Easy 3. This hole definitely played pretty difficult. Cody for his double bogey. Or, hold on now. Yes, double bogey. Excuse me. Math is hard. And just too low out of the hand. So he'll have a little bit of work to do for the triple bogey. Josh for his birdie. Just outside the circle. Kind of faked me out there a little bit. Oh, and just a little low as well. Kyle for his birdie. Inside the circle. Oh, no. Left side miss there for Kyle. Gives himself just as much work to do as the initial putt. Not able to clean up the par. He'll have a little bit of work left for the bogey. Cody in for the triple bogey. Only one birdie on the day. Ethan Beck. Everybody else either parred or worse. There were 4 bogeys and worse. So definitely not a gimme. Josh in for his 3. Mason parked under the basket. Kyle in for his 4. And Chad in for his 3 as well. On to hole 8, par 3, 365 feet. This pin location is going to be to the short and to the right. So definitely not a gimme by any means, unless you've got a smash of a forehand, or if you go for the very risky winter line. It's a backhand kind of through all the trees, and you're kind of just aiming for a small gap and hoping you get lucky. So just to the right of where the drone left, or drone disappeared, excuse me. Josh up first. Oh, struggling to get off the tee there. He'll end up pretty close to where Calvin was in the first round. Mason turning this one over, getting around to the tree. Nice little kick, so he'll be in deep circle 2 with a look at the pin. If Chad throws the exact same shot he threw last time, he would be in a good spot. overturned here. Getting a kick out to the fairway, though, so that shouldn't be too bad. Kyle also turning this one over, much like Mason did, and getting a very fortunate kick. That looked like it was going to be trailing off to the left, but kicking back to the right, he'll be in this little... There's a little cutout there from, I believe, a previous hole in the history of this course. I think there was a hole there. So he'll have an easy up and down, or easy, quote-unquote. Cody using the full left to right width of the fairway. He'll be right where Chad was in round one. And a good look at the basket. Josh using the height to get around all the trees. Easy up and down. Tap and 3 for him. Good scramble there. Kyle looks like he's giving this a bit of a run. Lining up this little putter. I definitely believe that qualifies for a run. Not a great run, but a run nonetheless. You got to give credit where credit's due. Chad, nice up and down. Looks like he had to straddle around a couple of trees, so a little bit of an awkward stance. Mason, kind of an open look at it. I think there may be a little bit of a stump between him and the basket, but I think that's more to the left, so out of his line. Yeah. Oh, and giving that a very good run. Tapping in that 3. Mason, a very fast player, likes to get in and get out. He's like, let me just get this tournament over with. Come on. We don't have to be here all day. Cody with a great look. Oh, and just a little low. Beautiful line, though. Tapping in that 3. A little casual disc flip into the basket there. Josh, a little high on that putt. That was kind of spooky. But 3 nonetheless for Chad, Josh, and Kyle. On to hole 9, par 3, 216 feet. I can't remember off the top of my head which location we're at, but judging from the distance, I think this is going to be in the one just straight right here. So just to the left of the silver pin, there's this little tree branch there in a hole, and I think that's the basket we're going for. So Josh up first. Looks like he's lining up the zone. And just too low and a little overturned on that one. This pin location, hard to get the bogey on unless you hit first available. Even that, double kick for Mason. Leaves him right in the fairway. Should be totally fine. Chad, unfortunately, getting that left back kick instead of kicking to the fairway. Kyle, very friendly reaction there. He'll be parked for the silver pin. Cody, not trusting these tee pads. They are very slick in the rain. And unfortunately, getting a little too much turn on that. Nice little kick back to the fairway, though, so that should be totally fine. It's so funny going from the tee box where it's kind of grayscale to here, and it's everything's brown. So Mason, little too low on that one, but he was pretty far away, so. And Josh kind of crushing that one. He'll have about 15 or so feet back for his par. Here we've got Cody. Well outside the circle here. Nice looking putt there, though. A little too low. But it is what it is. Oh, and Kyle, too high and left from that one. Chad trying to putt through this tree. This would be a pretty awesome putt to make. Saving the par. Definitely an awesome putt. I wish we had a better line for how cool that was. Oh, wow. And an unforced error for Kyle there. That's going to leave him with a bogey. Josh, too far to the right. Only losing a stroke to the card. Still a very daunting lead, but it is pretty early, so. But judging from his performance in round one, I think we should expect some fireworks from him. Mason in for the 3. Kyle and Josh tapping in their 4s. Hole 10, par 3, 408 feet. That seems pretty accurate. We've got this OB road to the right. We've got this wood line that may as well be OB. If you're in there, you're taking a bogey, or worse. Really, all you're trying to do on this tee shot is get yourself in. We're playing position golf, essentially, is what we're doing over here. You just want to get around about here-ish. In this landing zone, we'll put you in a good spot. Excuse me. Because we are in the short par 3 position, right at the mouth of the opening there. Mason, the only person I'm aware of who has ever aced this position. Not getting a very good reaction off of the ground there. I don't know if that hit the tree or if it just spiked into the ground, but he'll be at the opening. Easy 3 from there, maybe a run for the 2. And this looks pretty great from Chad. Nice left skip. That should put him just outside the circle, maybe. Maybe closer. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, no. Slip for Cody there. I kind of lost that one. I think that's early left, though. The slip on the tee pad really really got me there. I was like, oh, what the heck? Josh, beautiful drive here. Coming up a little bit short, though. Catching one of those trees. It looked great out of his hand. I'm not sure what changed for that. Maybe just the wrong disc choice. Kyle kind of following in that same line. And unfortunately getting the same result off of the tree. Yeah, Cody in a really bad spot. This is not where you want to be. I think he made it out. I think he made it through to the other side. Kyle almost ringing up the 2. Josh a bit closer than where Kyle was. Lots of angle on that one. Leaving himself a tester for the 3. Mason not want to play with it. He doesn't want the 2 enough to get a 4. He'll just settle for the 3. Chad, high right catch, saving the 2. Cody trying to follow suit, unfortunately, leaving himself a bit too far to the right. He'll have a pretty easy 4. Josh, nice height, just too far to the left. We'll lose another stroke to the card. Kyle cleaning up the 3. Cody cleaning up the 4. Only 3 birdies on the day. Chad Sherbert, which you just saw. Christian Camp and Calvin Pettigrew. Josh in for his 4 as well. And Mason going to tap in the 3. On to hole 11, par 3, 280 feet. Every position on hole 11 is pretty much a forehand position except for the short right position. So how many times can I say position in the same hole? I mean, this position, that position, this position. So this is the pin location that we will be throwing to, this nice forehand over the water. Or if you're Chad Sherbert, you're going to throw the turnover with the Mako 3. Which is really hard to follow in this overcast day. Unfortunately, he did go OB. He did cross inbounds. Mason's showing us the forehand line. And he'll have a pretty easy 2 from there. As you can see, the pin location. Oh my gosh. Pin location. This location that the pin is at is elevated. And Kyle, unfortunately, never coming back in bounds. As you can see, the rain has been falling for a while now, and these tee pads are very worn down. They're pretty old, so it is difficult to get good footing on them. And Cody really throwing a great shot here, going way too long. That's a good shot for the first round, but not quite so much for this round. Josh, a little bit of a slip there, but should be fine. Should be a pretty easy 2 for him there. Kyle, unfortunately, went out of bounds very early. Still a lot of work left to do here. But not when you throw a pig like that. Easy 4. Chad with his OB stroke here. Cashing in the 3. It's almost as if he never went out of bounds. Oh, Cody, very good bid there. Just too high. Of all the problems to have, too high. Josh bouncing back from that 4 on the previous hole. Mason with an absolute tap in. I think if he just picked that up, I don't know if anybody would have complained. Cody and Kyle left to clean up the 3s. Which Kyle does so, and I would suspect Cody would do the same. On to hole 12, par 3, 340 feet. This hole, definitely a predominantly forehand hole, in my experience and opinion, but there is this right-hand backhand line, so definitely still attackable if you are right or left-handed. As long as you're accurate on this backhand line, you will be in a good spot. Forehand definitely plays a little bit faster with the downhill slope that the basket is on, so Mason up first, going to show us this forehand line. really high out of his hand here, but if it has the distance, this should be fine. That'll be about circle 2. He's definitely a little disappointed in that one. If Josh can do that same line, but just a little bit lower, he should be in a much better position. Yeah, and really making a great correction here. We don't see it flash the basket, but that should be inside the circle with a pretty decent look. Chad with his Helioscorpius here, I think. Nice width on that. Unfortunately, a straight skip and not a left skip. He'll be just outside the circle, pin high right. I think this is too high out of Kyle's hand, but we'll see. Nope, that's a fine shot. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just ignore me, you know. Just watch the pros. They know what they're doing. Cody going through that sneaky left gap there. Putting himself in a great spot. Here we see Chad just outside the circle. Well, I say just outside. He's probably about 10 or so feet outside the circle. Chad a little disappointed in that effort there. It was a little bit windy over here, as you can tell from the crinkling of the camera cover. Doesn't bother Mason, though, cashing in that birdie. Cody inside the circle as well for his birdie. Making good on that one as well. A little bit left side, but it still goes in. Scorecard doesn't have, you know, pictures, so it doesn't matter. Kyle for his birdie. Oh, nice driven line. Just too low out of the hand for Kyle. A little low for Chad, too, but it squeaks in, so no harm, no foul. Josh with his park job for the 2. Cashing that one in, maintaining a 4-stroke lead here. Hole 13, par 3, 213 feet. This one, definitely one that you must be getting the 2 on, at least if you want to win the tournament. Don't go left, don't go right. Just blast it down the middle. This is some old drone footage, so this dirt retaining wall is no longer there. Mason up first. Leaking this one a little too far to the right. He'll make it out through a little sneaky gap over there, so should be fine. Josh lining up that zone. Little flex. Little overcooked, I would say. But he should be just outside the circle. Out through the gap. Cody showing us how it's done. That is a beautiful shot. Some excitement in the background. Doesn't razz Chad, though. Oh, that tree does, though. Oh, my gosh. Great looking shot. Just catching that last little tree. Kyle kind of cooking this one as well. Nice friendly kick back to the fairway, so he'll have this outside the circle look. Whoa, that was a huge mistake from Kyle there. Way too wide. And Chad never really giving that enough height. Mason from just inside the circle. Making good on that one. Nice dead center putt there. Josh definitely snuck through a lot more than I thought he did. He'll also be, I think, just outside the circle, maybe just inside. Hard to tell. There was a painted line, but through rain and through trampling on, it is not quite there anymore. And Josh, unfortunately, losing another stroke to Mason. A 4-stroke lead going into a 3-stroke lead as he cashes in that par. Kyle making good on that par save. And just another day for Cody, tapping in birdies, as he does. And Chad saving the 3, or tapping in the 3, not saving the 3, excuse me. So that will conclude the front 8 of the round 2 front 8 Groundhog Grappler, presented by Discraft, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. A huge thank you to the Judges Disc Golf Club for sponsoring this coverage. A huge thank you to you guys for watching, and I hope to catch you on the back 11 and any future coverage. If you want to support me, I am on Patreon, or you can subscribe. And a huge thank you to Sean Trapp and to my buddy Dustin West for their continued support on Patreon.